All right, guys, welcome back. We're going to do some operations with scientific notation here. The best way to do these are to write them in scientific notation and then do the actual operation. So this is not in scientific notation. Remember, scientific notation, this guy has to be greater than 1, less than 10. So I'm going to move this over 1, 2, 3 spots. So that means now I get 3 times 10. Now I made this number bigger, so I need to make this smaller than by 3. And that is, okay, sorry. That is going to be -7. So -7 there, okay? Then I have, so we're gonna write this in scientific notation and then multiply these things. So I've got this garbage, and I'm gonna multiply it by this, which it's already in scientific notation, so that's awesome. Okay, so 3 times 2 is going to give me 6. I'm skipping lines here. You don't have to. It's just when I'm doing these videos, it might be easier to see. So I don't know what my neighbor's doing, but it's 3 o'clock in the morning actually. And so I'm like, why is somebody out there? It's very weird. 6 times 10 to the, this -7 times 20. Remember, we add these guys, so that's going to be 13. Okay. So that is our answer there. That is our answer. All right, so the next one, let's do this guy right here. We need to turn this into scientific notation. So we're gonna move this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spots over, and I'm making the number larger, so I need to make this smaller by 5. So I'm gonna -5 from it. -5 minus 5 is -10, so it's 10 to the -10th. Times, this decimal goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spots, so it's going to be 7 times 10 to the, and I made this number smaller, so I have to make this larger, so that's going to be 5. All right, that's step 1. Now we do 4 times 7. That is going to give us 28. I really unnecessarily do not need to skip lines. 28 times 10 to the, and we add these together, we get -5. Now, this is not scientific notation because it has to be greater than 1, less than 10. So I'm gonna move this over 1 spot. So now I have 2.8, which means I've made this number smaller. So I have to make this bigger by 1 bunny hop. So I get times 10 to the -4th. That is your answer right there. All right, divide this by this. Well, first things first, let's put it in scientific notation. 1, 2, 3 spots over. So it's going to be 1.6 times 10 to the -3 over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4 times 10 to the, and this is going to be to the 5th power. All right, what we want to do when we're dividing is we're going to do this chunk first. So 1.6 divided by 4, that's going to give us 0.4 times 10 to the, now when we're subtracting on these, this actually works as a giant subtraction bar. I want you to do this off to the side. -3 minus 5, because that's the 5 there. Because everybody gets tripped up with that negative, that minus sign there. So go ahead and do it off to the side so that you can do this. Add the opposite. Okay, it's -8. All right. Now, this is not scientific notation. I need to move this over 1 spot. So when I do that, I get 4. I made this number larger, so I have to make this smaller by 1. So I get 10 to the -9. -9. All right, guys. Let's try some more of these. Oh, buddy. Okay. We're going to move this guy over 1, 2, 3, 4 spots. So that's 7 times 10. Now I made this larger, so I have to make this smaller by 2, 3, 4. So -4. So -23 minus 4 is going to be -27. Okay. This is 4,000. 1, 2, 3. I made that number smaller, so I need to make this bigger by 3. So that's going to be 10 to the 6, 7, 8, 9. I don't know why I had to do that. Ridiculous. Over this guy, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's going to be 4 times 10 to the -5. Okay. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times 10 to the 6th. All right, so let's do the top and then the bottom first. 7 times 4 is 28. Times that by 10 to the -27 and 9. It's late, 16, but I just want to, oh, it's 18. See, I was going to do it wrong. 18 over 7 times 4 is 28 times 10 to the negative 5, and 6 would be 1. Okay? Well, 28 divided by 28, that gives us 1 times 10 to the, and side work this, right? A little off to the side, it is 18 minus 1. 18 minus positive 1, that gives us 17. So this is your answer. Okay? Let's do the same thing down here. We've got 2.0, because we're going to go over 1. I made that number smaller, so I have to make this larger, so I'm going to add 1. So times 10 to the negative 45, 44. Let's try that. 44. And then this is going to be 4, and I moved it 2 spots. I made the number smaller, so I have to make this larger by 2. So that's times 10 to the 22 over, this is going to be 1 times 10 to the 3, 4, 5. And then this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 times. Now I made this number larger, so I have to make this smaller by 4. 10 to the negative 19. All right, now we got to do the top first. That's going to be 8 times 10 to the negative 22. Okay, this times this gives us 8, and then 10 negative 44 and positive 22 gives us negative 22. Over 1 times 8 is 8 times 10 to the negative 19, positive 5, that's going to give us negative 14. All right, 8 divided by 8 equals 1 times 10 to the, this is side work, negative 22. So we'll do this off the side. Negative 22 minus negative 14. Minus negative 14. You see, you got to add the opposite there. So 22 minus 14, we end up with negative 8. Because this guy would equal negative 8, so we have negative 8 as our answer there. All right, guys, the practice problems are, let me get those for you. Here are our practice problems. Go ahead, pause the video, do those, come on back. All right, so let's turn these into scientific notation. 7, so I'm gonna do 1, 2. I made this number larger, so I need to make this smaller by 2 bunny hops, so it's times 10 to the 0 power. Then we've got 8 times 10 to the 3, 4, 5 spots over, this is going to be 1 times 10 to the 3, 4, and this is going to be 4 times 10 to the 3, 6, 7, negative 7. All right, upstairs, let's do that. We get 56 times 10 to the 0 plus 5 will give us 5 over 4 times 10 to the negative 7, and 4 will give us negative 3. That will equal 56 divided by 4 will give us 14 equals, or 14 equals times 10 to the side work this out. We're going to do 5 minus negative 3, add the opposites. Oh, 10 to the 8th power. 10 to the 8th power. That is not scientific notation, actually. We've got to move this over 1 spot to make that 1.4. I've made this number smaller, so I need to make this larger by 1. So it's times 10 to the 9th. That is scientific notation. All right, guys, B. Let's try this. So we're going to go 1, 2. I make that number larger, so I'm going to make this smaller by 2, minus 2. That gives me 10 to the negative 11. Now, this, I need to move it over 1 spot, so I'm going to get 5 times 10 to the, now I made that number smaller, so I have to make this larger by 1, so plus 1, so 17. Divided by, it's going to be 4, right? 4 times 10 to the 1, I'm going to do 3, so 3, 4, 5, 6, so to the negative 6, okay? 5 times 10 to the 3, 4 times 10 to the 4th. All right, so 4 times, that's 20, times 10 to the so 4 times 5 is 20, negative 11 and 17 is 6. Yes, okay, and then 20 on the bottom, 2 times 5 is 20, times 10 to the negative 6, positive 4 gives me negative 2. Well, 20 over 20 gives me, conveniently, 1 times 10 to the side, work it out, 6 minus negative 2. 6 minus negative 2, add that, you get 8. That will be our answer there. All right, guys, if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, great work, and I will see you in class or see you on the next lesson. Thanks, guys.